everyone. Today's video I'll be talking about Halloween 2018. After Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 sequel being a financial failure and a disaster, just when we all thought after Halloween Resurrection, the remakes killing the Halloween franchise, we all thought the series was dead and no more Halloween movies. The Halloween series was up in the air on hiatus. A third Halloween movie by Rob Zombie did not happen because Rob Zombie wanted to move on to other film projects and was burnt out on making more Halloween films. Also, Rob Zombie made it to Joe Rogan on his podcast how he had a difficult time with the Halloween remakes because of studio interference and the Weinsteins were jerks and difficult. What was next? Another remake? Nope. Instead, they did a follow-up sequel ignoring the other sequels from Halloween 2 through Resurrection. As the new Scream movie said, it was a requel, remake/sequel. After the mentioned studios lost the rights to the Halloween franchise, Universal Blumhouse bought the rights and decided to reinvent the franchise. Around this time, Blumhouse was red hot at the time for horror movies with the Purge movies, Sinister, Happy Death Day, Unfriended, and The Visit. As someone who was a diehard Halloween fan, I did not know what to expect next. They made another Halloween movie around this time. This is the third time Universal did a Halloween movie since Halloween 2 and 3. This movie came out in 2018, celebrating the 40th anniversary of the first Halloween movie. Around this time, I was missing the franchise, craving for another Halloween sequel, despite the franchise was going downhill in the last decade. Before this movie, if someone asked me at the time, what would I have done for a Halloween movie? And honestly, I have no idea. You would think at this point in time they would have put him into space. I did not expect Jamie Lee Curtis to come back. I thought after Halloween was remade, I thought, that's it, no more Jamie Lee Curtis. When the movie was being filmed, my dad sent me text messages and behind the scene footages. I was like, wow, this is cool. I was excited to see that another Halloween movie was being made around this time. The movie's called Halloween. Why did I call it a different title like Halloween 2 40 years later? It's like they're too sensitive to call it another sequel, or forget that this title's already been used twice already. It was directed by David Gordon Green. He also co-wrote this movie with Danny McBride. These guys are mostly known for comedy. David Gordon Green directed Pineapple Express. I wish John Carpenter directed this movie, but I know he still worked on this movie. It's the first time he's been involved with the Halloween franchise since Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. He was also the executive producer and the composer of this movie. The previous year around this time, Danny McBride was in Alien Covenant, which I still haven't seen yet as part of the Alien franchise, with them ignoring everything from the previous sequels. Since it was directed by a guy who's known for comedy movies, of course, he had to put some humor in this movie. The part when Allison's friend was babysitting this kid, he had some funny one-liners, but it was just not necessary. Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are not brother and sister, but it's funny how they make a reference to that in this movie. But as it turns out, in this universe, it was a false rumor that Michael Myers and Laurie Strode were not siblings. It's like they were intentionally parroting that. Basically, this is a new timeline. At first, I was a little skeptical and hesitant they were ignoring the other sequels, but at the same time, I understand why they did that. If they did make a follow-up sequel to the original series, what would have been the follow-up to Resurrection? But somehow this worked out alright, ignoring the other sequels. The weird part before this movie came out, I remember marathoning all the original Halloween movie series, except for Halloween 3 and the Rob Zombie remakes. Despite they were ignoring the other sequels, I figured, what the heck, let's have some fun. Similar around this time, I marathoned the MCU movies in preparation for the upcoming 2 new Avenger movies at that time. Jamie Lee Curtis did do a good job as Laurie Strode, but again, I feel like the whole PTSD was done well, and we already saw this in H2O, but it was a slight upgrade to Resurrection, but she did kick ass. After what Laurie went through in the first movie, she's prepared. Her relationship with her family is complicated because of how she raised her daughter not to be a damsel in distress. Laurie does not let her guard down like her daughter does. Her daughter tries letting her mom know not everything in this world is bad. In H2O, she was an alcoholic. In this movie, she's not an alcoholic, but she's a recluse. She lives in the woods out in the middle of nowhere in seclusion. She's paranoid for obvious reasons. She wants to make sure Michael Myers is killed for good. Her character feels like another different version of H2O. Like I said in my H2O video, she's once again like a Sarah Connor and Ripley type. Between this and H2, I like her character arc in that movie. That's just my own opinion. When I was watching this movie, I kept asking myself, how was Laurie Strode able to afford these guns, a panic room, and security system? What did you do for her that she was able to afford this stuff? Ben Tramer's not dead and still alive, but he's not in this movie. He's an old crush on Laurie's past. They go back to Michael Myers being scared with no expression or rhyme or reason why he kills. I do like the opening scene where these two reporters / podcasters visit Michael Myers at Smith Grove Sanitarium, and the one reporter shows his mask when he cuts to the pumpkin and the good old John Carpenter music is playing. When I saw it in the theater, I was getting chills, goosebumps, applauding, yes! They're using John Carpenter's Halloween music. A nice tribute and a good feeling of nostalgia. Not only did John Carpenter compose this movie, his son Cody also composed this movie. Also, John Carpenter's godson Daniel Davis also helped compose this movie too. The setting where Michael Myers is standing with the other patient distance apart looks like a chessboard. There was a deleted scene where these two podcast reporters were boyfriend and girlfriend having sex in the shower. When I saw this movie, I asked myself, how did they catch Michael Myers after he escaped from the first movie? My question was answered in the next movie, but I'll dive into that in the next video. We see how Michael Myers has been in the insane asylum since the first movie. Middle of the movie, they were going to transfer to some higher maximum security, but Michael Myers escapes. When Laurie tells the psychiatrist he's the new Loomis, as it turns out he was a bad guy, I feel like this twist was unnecessary and came out of nowhere. It was one of those what the fuck moments. It felt like Halloween 6 when we found out Dr. Wynn was the Man in Black, minus the Thorn Cult. When I first saw this, I did not give much of a criticism until I heard other people's opinions on this part. It wasn't done well. It felt like a last-minute thrown decision by the studio. It explains how he's responsible when Michael Myers escapes. I also don't understand, why did he wear Michael Myers' mask? In a way, it's like in the Universal Monsters Frankenstein sequels. There's always some doctor that wants to follow in the same footsteps as Dr. Frankenstein and reanimate the monster back to life. Michael Myers stomps on his head and his head explodes like a watermelon. I don't understand this is a requel in a new series. I wish they had brought back Danielle Harris playing Laurie Strode's daughter. That would have been cool and awesome. Don't get me wrong, I like Judy Greer. She's been in a lot of good things. She does do a good job in this movie, but I'm not sure I would have picked her as Laurie Strode's daughter. I don't know why, I felt like she was miscast for this role. The estrangement between Laurie and her child being overprotective of her daughter felt like a rehash of H2O. In H2O, Laurie had a son. In this new series, she has a daughter. Her childhood was complicated, despite Laurie being overprotective of her, but when it came down to facing Michael Myers, she shined for the occasion. When she comes face to face against Michael Myers, at first she's acting weak, then she shoots him. Good acting right there. Despite her crazy childhood upbringing, in a weird way, all that training from her mom paid off for that one moment. She mentioned at 8 years old she learned how to use a gun. When I was 8 years old, I learned to use the TV remote and hit a baseball. The complicated dynamic of strange relationship between her and her mom was okay. It was nothing different or special. Laurie's granddaughter, played by Andi Matachak, I'll admit, I didn't know who this actress was who played Laurie's granddaughter when I first saw this. She's alright, she's not bad, there's not much character development arc. When I saw that, I was hoping for her to be better written than the next ones, but little did I know what to expect at that time. Unlike her mother, she seems to have an okay bond with her grandmother. I read they originally wanted Emma Roberts or Lucy Hale in this role, but the producers decided to honor the same spirit as the first Halloween movie. They decided to cast an unknown actress, just like Jamie Lee Curtis was an unknown at the time when she first starred in the first Halloween movie. For some reason, I did not care about her breakup with her boyfriend when he cheated on her. It was cliched. In a way, this felt like a throwback to Halloween 4 with Rachel and her boyfriend Brady breaking up. Not like how in past slasher movies you were invested and cared about the characters. Her friend Oscar was also not interesting. He tried hitting on her and kissing after her boyfriend cheated on her, then Michael Myers kills him. Before Michael Myers kills him, his dialogue is cringeworthy, what he says to Michael Myers. Allison's dad was played by the actor on Seinfeld, The Wiz. When I first saw this, I did not see the connection. Now when I watch this movie, I think to myself, that's the guy who played The Wiz on Seinfeld. I'm The Wiz. The actor is good, but he's forgetful in this movie and not an interesting character. He's just there, and he's the wife of Judy Greer's character. Again, he had some funny one-liners that were not good or necessary to add comedy in this movie. When he says I got peanut butter on my penis, I'm like, give me a break. It was a stupid dumb joke, another cringe moment. As usual with a lot of sequel franchises, they pay tribute and homage to the first movie. Previous sequels, and repeat themselves, what we've already seen done in the past series. But no order of these homages. Laurie Strode's granddaughter is in a classroom. She looks outside the window and she spots her grandmother. Homage to the first Halloween movie. Her grandmother gives her some money. When Laurie falls off the balcony, Michael Myers looks away for a second, turns his head back, and then she's gone. It felt like H2O, similar how when Laurie stalked Michael Myers in reverse, she's stalking him instead of Michael stalking Laurie. On Halloween night, Michael Myers walks around on Halloween, blends in with the crowd of trick-or-treaters. This is a homage to the original Halloween 2, again. Because it's Halloween, no one suspected knowing it was Michael Myers. Kills some random people in their homes, but has not killed a baby. Also, like in Halloween 2, Michael Myers steals a kitchen knife. This time he kills the people in the house. When I first saw it, I was thinking to myself, this is the first time I've seen Michael Myers kills a little kid in one of these Halloween movies. His death scene was similar to Andy in the first movie. Michael Myers kills the two podcasters at a gas station, reference to Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I did like the shot of Michael Myers taking his mask out of the car and putting it on. That was a cool shot. When Michael Myers kills Dan the podcaster in the bathroom, it reminds me of H2O. Michael Myers steals a lady car in the rest stop, but he's not killer. In this movie, he does. The two cops are basically mocking the two comedic cops from Halloween 5. I'm not sure there are any other Halloween 5 references that come to mind with this movie. Their dialogue could have been cut out when they were talking about their homemade recipes. It felt like some of a poor man's version of a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like in previous Halloween movies, he kills a mechanic so he gets some clothes. Man, Michael Myers is the thing for killing mechanics on Halloween. Not a good day to be a mechanic on Halloween night. Some random trick-or-treaters were dressed in the silver shamrock mask from Halloween 3, despite Halloween 3 has nothing to do with Michael Myers. Michael Myers was not in Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. One of the few Halloween movies they did not reference to pay homages to Resurrection, but no one cares about Resurrection anyway. When watching this movie, I could not think of any Rob Zombie Halloween remake references that came to mind. Maybe there is, I'm probably just not seeing it. There is, let me know in the comments below. I'm glad they got Nick Castle back playing Michael Myers again, but throughout most of the movie, he's played by stuntman James Jude Courtney. When I was watching this movie, I kept asking myself, did Nick Castle play Michael Myers walking while Courtney did the kill scenes and the fight choreographed stunt scenes? In the opening saying no, James Jude Courtney was unmasked as Michael Myers in that scene. The mask he wears is probably one of the better Michael Myers masks I've seen in a long time. Like in Rob Zombie's remake, it's worn out, but I like this worn out mask version better, but that's just my opinion. Michael Myers is over 61 years old in this movie. In real life, Nick Castle was in his early 70s when this movie was made. For a 61-year-old, Michael Myers still killed like he's on steroids and on high testosterone. But sometimes Michael does get his ass kicked, but he's not back down. In the first Halloween movie, Michael Myers is referred to as the Shape, and they don't call him that in the first movie. In this movie, it's the first time ever in a Halloween movie they call him the Shape. I read that James Jude Courtney, in preparation for playing Michael Myers, he consulted with serial killers to make his performance more believable. Will Patton did a good job as Deputy Frank Hawkins. Apparently he arrested Michael Myers on Halloween night 1978 after he disappeared from being shot by Dr. Loomis. But he has a bigger arc in the next movie, which I'll dive into the next video. PJ Salz has an off-screen cameo appearance in this movie as Allison's English teacher, but we don't see her on camera, we only hear her voice. She originally was offered a cameo in H2O playing a different character despite her character died in the first Halloween movie. With this movie they introduced certain characters we see in the next two movies, but I'll cover that in the next two videos. I like it when Laurie has Michael Myers trapped in the basement, she sets the house on fire. If they did not make any more sequels after this could have been a good way to go out for a finale like in H2O. Michael Myers burns alive just like in the original Halloween 2. But after the credits roll, if you listen closely, you hear Michael Myers breathing. That's a sign he's still alive. Like I said in this video series, remember, you can't kill the boogeyman. This movie was not great or perfect, it was okay. When I saw it in the movie theaters, I liked it. It was fun, exciting, a good experience for me, seeing this in the movie theaters with my father. It was the first new Halloween sequel I ever saw in the movie theaters in my life, despite seeing the original Halloween re-release in the past. I was not born when the original came out, obviously. I was 2 years old when Halloween 6 came out. I was a little baby at that time. 5 years old when Halloween H2O came out. 9 years old when Resurrection came out. and I was a teenager when Rob Zombie's Halloween remakes came out, but I was not old enough at the time to see those in the movie theaters at the time. Since then, the hype has died down for me, the same way I feel about the Star Wars sequel trilogy, but that's a different story. Unlike H2O, I've gone back so many times, this one is a rare occasion rewatch for me unless I'm in a certain mood. It's a movie I've changed my mind about the last few years. It's not a bad movie by all means. It just doesn't have the same magic for me and touch for me seeing it in the movie theaters. To me, it's still an alright movie. I can take it or leave it. It's hit or miss for me. Just like Star Wars, Halloween fans have a new way of watching the Halloween series. Whether you're watching either the original first two Halloween, then the Thorn trilogy, or Halloween 1 and 2, H2O and Resurrection as a quad trilogy, despite no one cares about Resurrection. Rob Zombie's Halloween remakes are its own thing, no continuity with the original series, or just watch the first original Halloween when we watch this new series. Your choice. I said this already in my H2O video, to me H2O is still one of the good sequels to date. This movie felt like the first Halloween movie all over again, but in modern day 2018, and remake/sequel, and poking fun of references to past sequels in the original series.